Another day, another discussion about obesity, its causes and what might be done to stop people from getting any fatter than they already are. The medical profession and various campaigning types, such as celebrity chefs like Jamie Oliver, insist that governments must take urgent action to reduce childhood obesity. Today, there are now 12.3 million people at risk of type 2 diabetes. The most deprived 5-year-olds are more than twice as likely to be obese than their better off counterparts. Meanwhile, the liberal groups in society are enjoying another tack of solidarity with the underprivileged, expressing their opposition to this attack on people's freedom and right to make their own choices. The argument expressed by the food campaigners is that people on low incomes have no willpower and will always make bad choices. As in so many arguments, it's possible to hold both positions at once. Even as I agree that the campaign is a weak position to hold, you only need eyes in your head to see this. I believe it is wrong to make giant assumptions about whole groups of people with no scientific evidence to support it. In addition, a subject of this nature is not so straightforward. As a child, I didn't eat a lot of junk food. My parents would never permit it. But when I was out with my school friends, I enjoyed a few guilty pleasures. Among these are foods I often crave, even now, such as fish and chips. However, when it comes to dieting or health, I cling as strongly to the idea of rewarding myself with treats as I do to achieving a healthy balance in my choice of food. Zealotry involves people with very strong opinions trying to force their ideas onto others with respect to food and health. This idea is of no help to anyone. Those campaigning for the government to take action would rather talk of the environment than willpower. They believe junk food advertising on television promotes unhealthy habits. They believe the fact that at supermarkets unhealthy foods are more likely to be discounted than healthy foods encourages unhealthy habits. They're right to raise these issues because consumerism and capitalism makes slaves of us all. But it's more complicated than this. Some people are not able to exercise a degree of willpower to reject making the wrong choices. Instant gratification is central to our culture now, in ways that connect not only to food, but to a general lack of understanding about well-being. People wouldn't worry too much over fast food takeaways if we all walked everywhere. Only rarely, moreover, do we interrogate the relationship between what we eat and our mood, another component, broadly speaking, of the environment. If depression and anxiety are on the rise, and few would argue that they aren't, shouldn't we expect them to trail all manner of disordered eating patterns, up to and including overconsumption? We all, it has to be said, eat more of the wrong foods than is good for us, and it's not because we're poor or deprived, but rather because it's convenient to do so. It's ready available and relatively cheap. In addition to this, so much of the wrong food we eat is related to changes in our mood. Have you noticed how in television dramas and movies, characters who experience breakups in their relationships crave comfort foods such as ice cream, chocolates or cookies? Hunger, in its often phony Western 21st century guise, is a highly complex response to all sorts of different stimuli and emotions. Sure, you can get rid of the advertising. You can make junk food less easily available. But some things are harder to change, namely what's inside our heads.